At Chatham House think tank. He joins me now. Peter, a very warm welcome to the programme. Peter, what's your initial thoughts on these hacked emails?
Sure. Well, we've seen escalating war of words between Saudi Arabia and the UAE on one side and Qatar on the other for about a week and a half now. This is a long brewing conflict or set of tensions within the Gulf states. So it's not a surprise that something like this has happened. And it's not the first time that it's happened either, but it is a sign of the direction of travel, that things are not going well.
So, Peter, we've got a situation, it would seem, from reading these emails, that we've got a serious attempt to kind of downgrade the reputation of Qatar and Kuwait too, levelling some pretty hefty accusations. So who benefits?
Well, certainly the UAE has taken a very critical stance on Qatar in the past. There was a very big diplomatic flare-up in 2014 where the UAE and other Gulf states withdrew ambassadors from Doha for a period of time. That seemed to have cooled down, and we're now back at it. But again, this isn't really sort of something very surprising in any way, shape or form. It's just an escalation of a conflict that's been going on for some time.
What does it tell us, Peter, I wonder, about the relationship between the Gulf countries, and particularly some of the awkward conversations that might have to be had at the GCC at some point in the near future?
Well, certainly the GCC is not a united front. There are various different internal tensions, various different internal issues, not just between certain GCC states and Qatar, but also with Oman. But certainly things are getting to a point where, once again, it's very, very clear how big these internal divisions are. And the big question here really is, what does Qatar have to do to repair its relationship with the UAE and now Saudi Arabia, and vice versa? And is the will there for that to happen?
Peter, I'm also interested in terms of whether what we're seeing here could potentially have any effect on policy. I mean, I'm just looking at some documents here, part of what was leaked, which is an agenda, if you like, for a meeting that's due to take place in June for this neoconservative think tank. And there's lots of really interesting stuff in here about the US consider moving their airbase, and they're also talking about the relationship, you know, with the Qataris. So what does a kind of neoconservative think tank have in common with the UAE?
What does a neoconservative think tank have in common with the UAE? Neoconservatives in general are very critical of Iran. The UAE, the leadership in Abu Dhabi, very, very focused on Iran. And also neoconservative groups very concerned about groups like the Muslim Brotherhood and various other Islamist groups who Qatar are seen as funding. And once again, the UAE takes a very strong stance on the Muslim Brotherhood in particular. So there's certainly a lot there for them to share in terms of worldview. And again, from the perspective of certain Gulf states, they are doing a much, much better job and doing much more work at the moment to get their message out in Washington and to try and sway the Trump administration and officials in general into seeing the world their way.
Peter Salisbury there joining me from Chatham House. Peter, thank you.